A bad bitch is not about to wait until January to start chipping away at her goals. The baddest bitches also wouldn't have waited until September, but it's okay because this will be your 90-day plan to absolutely loving the life that you bring into 2026. The next 5 steps that I'm about to go through are ones that I've gone through multiple times, and I do want you to know that they will require a total uprooting of the old you. Things are not going to look the same. And I know everyone online talks about being unrecognizable. It's one thing to get a new hairdo or a new outfit, but when you start to become unrecognizable spiritually, energetically, that's how you know you have actually changed the trajectory of the rest of your life. That is what we're doing here. Things are about to change and change quickly. All right, let's get it. To make this fun and exciting, I've actually created a cute and free PDF to help guide you along these several steps. I know you've likely watched a lot of videos like this one, but I want this to be the one that actually gets you to dial in and focus and make serious change in your life. I want you to look at the things that you write down in this PDF in 90 days and feel like you have become the type of person that trusts herself to do whatever the hell she says she's gonna do moving forward. It's my good luck charm as you lock in and completely transform your life. Let me know how you like it. Rule number 1 is to clarify your vision in 1 to 2 areas of your life. If you have watched any of my identity shifting transformation videos, you know that 1 to 2 is my favorite thing to say. A lot of us have this misconception that we can really double down on multiple areas of our lives. I actually just recorded a video about this the other day. Apparently the word priority was never actually meant to be plural until the 1900s. Like for the first 500 years of the word priority existing in the English language, it was just about one thing. You prioritized one thing because that is what it truly means to prioritize something. But in our culture of hustling and just trying to do too much without actually really doing anything, we have started to try to focus on so many things that ultimately spread us so thin that we don't actually get anything real done. We have this addiction to constantly trying to change things when in reality, because we're not actually dialing in on anything, our lives don't really change. If you really want to see things shift significantly, you want to visualize what that change looks like in your life in 1 to 2 areas. I want you to pick the 1 to 2 things that are going to have a domino effect on the rest of your life. And in my case, as vain as it might seem to a lot of people, it was my body. It was changing my body. My body image was something I struggled with for over half of my life. So I knew that changing my body would not only make me feel better in my day-to-day, it would also set the standard for me of, okay, well, if you can change this thing that has historically been so challenging to you, then the sky is the limit. You could change anything. If you were to choose an area of your life that if you were to transform that one thing, it would have a domino effect on everything, not just because it would directly impact those things, but also the level of self-trust that you would develop. You will carry that into any other area of your life moving forward. Once you have identified and narrowed down the 1 to 2 areas of your life that you will be focusing on, I want you to visualize what success looks like in that area. Now, there's a few different ways to visualize. One of my favorite journaling practices here is writing from the perspective of my future self to my current self. I'm a firm believer that we really have all of the answers within us. And when I channel what my future self would be thinking or saying about how I'm living my life now, it is so illuminating in such a crazy way. It really serves as this reminder that your future self is not far away. She's just a couple of decisions away. She's already kind of within you, guiding you along the way. So that's one of my favorite practices because it helps you really solidify the feeling that you would have in that future version of you's life. Another fun activity would be to do vision boarding. Honestly, any of these options are great. You can journal, you can vision board, you can visualize. What is so much more important here than the approach that you take is choosing the thing that makes you feel the feeling of success. You want to be able to see yourself in that role of success in those 1 to 2 areas. We'll get to the more detailed goal setting in a second, but what is more important than the specifics here is the feeling. Okay, so like really marinate and let yourself download the feelings of success in those areas of your life. Next, we are going to start actually turning those into goals. You already know what SMART goals are. I'm not even going to go over all of that with you, but I want you to narrow it down to 1 to 2 goals only for each of these areas. And yes, you want these goals to be specific, and obviously the time frame that we're working with is 90 days. So by the end of that 90-day period for each of those those focus areas, what is the result that you will create? I want to talk a little bit here about the psychology of goal setting, because I used to be a girly that would set these super incredibly ambitious goals. I'm not here to tell you what is realistic or what isn't. Nobody can tell you that. But what I am here to tell you is that your belief in your ability to actually accomplish those things in 90 days is so much more important than anything else. When it comes to like step one in the vision that we set, it doesn't need to feel realistic. It really doesn't even need to feel believable. You just need to be able to like get in touch with the feeling of having it. For this step though, it needs to feel believable. Only you know what that is, but you need to be able to look at that goal and be like, man, this would change my life. However, I know if I put my head down, I can have that in 90 days. The reason I'm saying this is because if you look at that goal, whatever goal you set for a 90-day period, and the majority of what you are feeling is doubt, that is going to overwhelm the shit out of you. Just give it one bad day and you're just going to feel like giving up, because you're going to feel like it threw you completely off track. Keep in mind that right now is when you feel the most positive and hopeful about it, because you haven't started doing the work yet. That does not mean you should not feel a little bit of doubt. It's okay to feel a little bit of doubt, but you should not be doubting whether this thing is possible within a 90-day period. Choose a goal that is ambitious and challenging enough to excite you and change your life, but also realistic and attainable enough so that the feeling that's created is the only thing between me and this thing is myself. As long as I do the work, I know I can do that. That is the feeling you want to be left with. So go ahead and draft 1 to 2 goals for each of your focus areas in life, and make sure they are specific and make sure they are game changing. Now here's where it gets interesting. The goals that you just set are the results that you would like to see at the end of a 90-day period. But without some sort of plan, without some sort of behaviors, those are just dreams, right? There's no actual plan on how to achieve them. Here is where you want to set what I call input goals. We just discussed the output. You want to lose 10 pounds. You want to hit 100,000 followers. You want to make this much money every month. Whatever it is, that is your output. What are the inputs that you need to do either on a daily or weekly basis to get you on track to achieving that output? These are my favorite things because they really put the power in your hands. Sometimes when we're visualizing our dream life, it feels so far away. Even those goals that we just set, they feel much more attainable, but the way to get there sometimes can just feel so unclear, cloudy. The way that you get your head out of the clouds and really put that power back in your hands is for each of those goals, I want you to outline the inputs that need to happen to make them inevitable. So let's go with the 10 pounds example because it's just easiest. If your goal is to lose 10 pounds in 90 days, then there should be some sort of input about how many steps you're getting a day, let's say, or how many times you're going to be going to the gym. Only you can decide what are the most impactful inputs for you to choose, or the ones that feel right to you. But you want to make sure that you have something that you're either doing every day or every single week to keep you on track to hitting that thing. So take your goals and reverse engineer them into inputs that you're doing either daily or weekly. One theme that you're going to see throughout the rest of this video is self-awareness. It's just understanding yourself and what works for you, because what works for someone else is absolutely not going to work for you. One thing I learned works for me is looking at my goals through a weekly snapshot. Daily feels a little unforgiving for me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have certain daily goals. I started tracking my calories now that I'm doubling down on my weight loss goal. I do that every single day. That is more of a habit though. The goal that I have is to stay within a certain average caloric allowance. Some days I go over that, so other days I will go under that. In order to do that, I needed to shift my focus outside of a daily thing into something that is more weekly. That was a way to give myself some more built-in flexibility while still keeping me exactly on track to the goal that I'm trying to achieve. And that was just something I learned through trial and error is, man, I'm just not perfect every day and I don't want to be perfect every day. But what I do want to be is accountable. If there's a day where things just don't go as planned, I want to give myself 6 more days that week to be able to make up for it. And that has been game changing for me. If that sounds like something that is more aligned with you, regardless what your goal is, looking at it through a weekly snapshot might give you a lot more built-in flexibility and keep that momentum going, even and especially when you have off days, because we all have off days and you're in this for the long haul. This is not like 90 days of perfection. This is 90 days of momentum. And in order to have that, you need to understand how you're going to bounce bounce back from days where you're just not feeling like your best self. Which brings us to rule number 4. There's a difference between your goals and your inputs and actual habits that are almost baked into your life. Habits are so slept on when it comes to goal setting and achieving your goals. The reason I say self-aware habits is because everything we've discussed so far is somewhat set in stone. Your vision is not really going to change very much in the next 90 days. Your goals will probably not change in the next 90 days, but your habits can change every week because you're testing things out and you're figuring out. Working out in the morning, I tried that. I actually didn't really like that because it just made me feel da-da-da-da. So I'm actually, this coming week, I know that my goal is to get in the gym 3 times a week. It doesn't matter whether you do it in the morning or in the afternoon. Like, you're getting in the gym a certain amount of times a week. So as you are thinking about what your habits are, understand a couple of things. Habits are creating the environment for success. The idea is to make success so much easier than failure. And that really can only happen with the habits that you create. The second thing I want you to think about here is what has not worked well in the past. That question is so slept on. You've done this before. I guarantee it. The reason you're listening to this video, I know for a fact, if you're anything like me, it's because you've tried at least one other time to do the thing that you're trying to do right now. You're sick of letting yourself down. You're sick of not actually crushing those goals, which isn't something to be ashamed of. It's actually the opposite. It's something to be excited about because that means you have at least one frame of reference. I know for me, my 2 goals, which I'll get to them in a second actually, because I wrote them in this journal. They're due on October 16th because that's my birthday. And I've already accomplished at least 2 of the 3 goals that I set in here. And it just, oh my God, I can't describe how good that feeling is. The goals that I've been working on are my body goals and my content creator career goals. Those things I have tried and failed at. And now I'm here, not feeling ashamed of myself, but actually feeling like I have so much data to draw from about why that shit didn't work. And I'm for damn sure not giving up. So I have brought that data into this go around and it has completely transformed the way I am going about it. I am so much better and stronger because I have all of those past failures to lean on and be like, oh no, I'm probably not actually doing that because last time I tried it like that, it didn't work for this reason. Instead of shaming myself for that, instead of trying to force myself into a certain process, I am just laser focused on where I'm trying to go, but I am not attached to how to get there. It's like when you are trying to get somewhere and you plug it into your GPS, when it reroutes you, you're like, okay, bet they're trying to avoid some sort of accident or some sort of traffic, or they're trying to get me there faster. I really don't care what road I take. I just want to get there the fastest and the safest. I know sometimes you do care what road you take, but just go with the analogy. The whole point is that when it comes to my goals, I don't care how I get there. I'm going to try out the different approaches that are going to get me there the most effectively. That's it. So as you reflect on what hasn't gone well, I want you to take note of that and come up with some habits that kind of solve for those past failures. And then obviously think about what has gone well. Think about what did work for you in the past and make sure you bake that into this new process as well. The key with habits is to fail fast. When it comes to my weight loss goal, right? I knew that one of my input goals was to get on the Stairmaster 4 times a week for 30 minutes. I realized that I don't always want to do the Stairmaster. So I quickly changed that while I'm keeping that same cardio input goal. I changed that to, I just need to hit 120 minutes a week. That's it. Sometimes I just do 2 days of 60 minutes. Sometimes it is 4 days of 30 minutes. Like, it really doesn't matter how I get there. I just need to do it in a way that makes the most sense for me. I realized I kept saying I was going to go to the gym on Saturday, and week after week, I just didn't feel like going on Saturday. So I switched my Pilates class from Thursday night, a day that I normally get into the gym because weekdays are just easier for me mentally to go there. I changed my Pilates class to Saturday so that I can get my ass in the gym on a Saturday and do a leg workout right after that. And that has worked for me 2 weeks in a row. I have gone to Pilates because I'm not missing a paid class. I know that about myself. And then obviously I'm already at the gym, so I'm going to do something for the hour after that. Don't be so rigid that you're actually losing the whole plot. The point is for you to show up consistently. So you would be remiss to not talk to yourself and be like, girl, what's going on? Oh, I realized that waking up and going to the gym feels daunting to me. I actually want to wake up and do my journaling prompt instead and start getting to work instead. And it feels much more nice and slow for me to get to the gym every day at 5 p.m. That's kind of where I'm at in life. I don't like waking up and going to the gym, and maybe it'll change at some point. But right now I'm going with the flow of of what is working for me. Because guess what? That is all that matters. If it works for you, you are going to be consistent in doing that. Trust yourself enough to go with the flow of what works best for you. Do not swim against the current. You don't get bonus points. You don't come out faster or stronger by forcing yourself to go against what naturally feels right for you. You're already changing your life. Don't make it harder than it already is. Last, but certainly not least, none of this shit matters if you do not schedule this in. You need to get so comfortable with actually carving out time for this life. It needs to be planned. I don't care if you're type A, type B, type C. I really don't care. You need to schedule this. And the reason why you need to do that is because your old self, the one that is lazier, less motivated, less focused, making more excuses, whatever, she is going to be pulling at you and pulling very hard. Anytime you are trying to change your life, you're going to have things come up that are trying to pull you back into the old identity. It feels incredibly scary to do things differently than we have done them before because we just really crave predictability as a people. And so if you do not carve out the time when these new habits are going to happen, when these new behaviors are going to happen, you're going to default back to what you did last week. It is so important to go into either your Google Calendar, which is what I've started doing, or maybe you are a planner girly. I'm kind of both, and actually plan out when these things are going to happen. If your goal is to become a full-time content creator like mine is, you need to plan out like, what days am I filming? What days am I editing? When are things getting posted? When it comes to the gym, you need to plan out when your workouts are, or better yet, either sign up for classes so that you can kind of have that like built-in accountability, or hire a trainer like I did. I'm definitely not missing my training sessions if he's waiting for me. Find a way to hack this by carving this time out into your schedule. It needs to be very clear to you at the beginning of every week exactly when these things are going to happen. And of course, just like I just said, you can switch things around. There are some days where I was supposed to hit the gym and I'm like, I'm like in a really, really good flow of editing and recording. I'm going to make it to the gym tomorrow though, when it was supposed to be my rest day. You want to create the environment for flexibility, but you need structure in order for there to be something to be flexible about. Don't lead with flexibility because that's not really flexibility. That's just being confused and having no plan. You're going to literally plan to fail. Not to be cliche, but that's the truth. Have some sort of structure, and then if you need to deviate off of that structure, that's fine. But you need to carve out time for your success every week. What has worked really, really well for me and what I recommend to you is to kind of approach this next 90 days in 3 parts. The first 30 days are going to be a trial period. You are going to set habits and you're going to set a schedule and give yourself full permission to iterate on that as many times as you need to. I literally just told you guys, in my first month, I switched up my workout schedule like 5 different times from what I was learning week by week. I didn't wait for the month to be over to be like, should I change this up? I really wasn't consistent because it wasn't working for me. No, if it's not working, after 2 days, switch it up. Fail fast. That's one of the most common pieces of advice that any entrepreneur, when they're building their billion-dollar businesses, will tell you is to fail fast. Try things out, see how they work. The goal in these 30 days is to figure out an approach that feels best for you on how you're going to continue approaching these goals for the remainder of the 90-day period. Try on different things, see what works for you. The other thing that has worked really, really well for me is in this planner that I conveniently have here, there's a weekly planning focus. And on every Sunday, and I need to do it today because today is Sunday, I plan out all the meals that I'm making that week. I write down all my workouts so I see it right in front of me. And every Monday, I plan out my content for the entire week. I go into every single week knowing what I'm going to be doing that week. The other thing that has been game changing is doing that daily as well. So every single night, I look at my calendar and write down what needs to happen the next day. One thing I've noticed about myself is even if I had done the weekly thing that I just said, I will wake up being like, okay, what was I supposed to do today? And even if I can just go into my calendar and figure that out really quickly, that energy of waking up not knowing what you're supposed to do, it's just a very groggy, unmotivated, confused energy. That is not the energy that is going to transform your life. So every single night as I'm going to sleep during my 9 p.m. bedtime, I literally sit with this journal and write out the 3 things that need to get done the next day. And I kind of create like a mock schedule. I'm not so type A and so neurotic to where if things don't happen every hour on the hour, I'm not stressed about that. There's sometimes times where I'll be like, from 10 to 1, I'm recording. And then from this time I'm editing. But then I wake up and I realize there's a better way to do what I thought I was supposed to do. The point is, I'm not sitting and trying to reinvent the wheel in the morning. I have a plan. And if I decide to deviate off of that plan, it's because there's a better plan. But I woke up knowing what I wanted to accomplish that day. That has been a game changer. It sounds so simple, but honestly, it has really, really, really helped me wake up with purpose, wake up with energy, wake up feeling more motivated and literally ready to change my life. Self-awareness and self-trust, these are literally your best friends on this journey. There have been multiple times, I'm sure, that you have tried to accomplish the things that you are looking to do right now. And I can guarantee you that if you were not successful, it can boil down to a lack of self-awareness and a lack of self-trust. And the reason that I'm saying that is because a lot of times we just default to beating ourselves up and judging ourselves. And honestly, I'm all about tough love, but tough love is very different than just being a bitch to yourself. Being a bitch to yourself means you're trying to control yourself and beat yourself up for what you did not do or did not accomplish, instead of getting curious. Like, okay, I said I was going to do that. That's true. And I didn't do it. However, why? Why didn't I do it? What was going on? I realized for me, when it came to the gym on Saturdays, like I said, I could have just been like, well, you're a lazy ass bitch. You didn't want to get up. No. I asked myself, this is not really like you, because normally you say you're going to do something and you do it. And throughout the week, you are so consistent. You have never missed a workout with your actual trainer. What is so hard about getting up and having the discipline to wake up and go on a Saturday? And I thought about it and I'm like, Saturdays just feel so open. I'm just in bed. I see the whole day in front of me and I'm not so focused on my goals on a Saturday because I'm taking a day off, that there's just nothing that feels urgent to me. Friday nights are also my cheat meals. We stayed up late. I probably ate something that made me feel really drowsy. When I went to sleep, I felt like I just don't even want to get out of bed. So how can I hack that? Knowing all of those things are true, how can I hack that? So I'm like, I wonder if I just made my Pilates classes Saturdays at 10 a.m. Will that create the urgency to get me up to the gym, but also get my leg workout in after that? And I tried it a couple times and it worked like clockwork. And do I hate myself at 9 a.m.? I kind of. Sometimes I wake up on Saturday like, bruh, there are a billion things I want to do more than going to this Pilates class. But guess what? That's the old me. That is the old uncomfortable me telling myself, well, you usually just stay in bed. What are we doing? Why are you getting up? Why are you rushing to go to the gym? Why do we need to do this again? But of course, once I get there, I feel so good about myself. And then once I'm done with my workout, I feel like the baddest of bad bitches. And enough repetitions with that, the old me will just be dead. Like, there will not be a Saturday in sight where I don't get up with a purpose going to the gym. I want you to really, really understand that the discomfort is just part of the journey. It doesn't mean you're doing things wrong. In fact, it's actually a sign that you are shifting into a new identity. You are shifting into a new life. You are literally transforming into the version of yourself that can not only accomplish these goals, but can sustain the life with that newfound success. That is the part that I think a lot of people don't talk about. It is one thing to transform your life and create change that you've never seen before. It is a whole other beast for you to become the person that really just aligns with that new life that you've built for yourself. I did this exact process that I'm taking you guys through, but I did it for 6 months versus 90 days. And at the time, I was nowhere near what I'm about to tell you. So my first goal was dropping to a size 6 in jeans, or to be 158 pounds. At this point in time, I was probably like 174-ish pounds, but I haven't weighed myself, so I really can't tell you exactly how much I weighed. The other thing was to grow Rima's Rules to 10,000. And I just hit 10,000 on Instagram yesterday. Isn't that wild? And what's crazy is that I thought I was going to hit 10K on YouTube before Instagram because I just wasn't feeling good about Instagram. Like, I wasn't really showing up consistently and I just felt weird posting on Instagram. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. I still would love to hit 10K on YouTube before my birthday. So that goal is still pending, but we'll see how it goes. Another goal that I have before my birthday on October 16th is to grow the Habibays channel to 15,000. So Habibays is our couples account and we're at 13,000 and I know that we can get to 15 in the next month. So I'm literally practicing exactly what I'm saying here. I've done this multiple times. Aside from hitting these goals that I just told you guys about, the amount of people that have literally, people in my life who I'm very close to, who have been like, you're just different. I feel it too. I feel it. I know I'm different this time. I feel different. I know the energy I'm bringing is different. And it is because I have literally become somebody completely new. I've become the person who not only has the things that I say that I want, but I know I can have whatever I want moving forward. And that is just, I want you to have that feeling so badly. badly. And it really, really starts here. I want you to follow these steps, fill out the PDF, have fun with it. But most importantly, be extremely disciplined and determined about where you are going. But please be incredibly flexible about how you get there. Trust yourself enough to give yourself that flexibility, learn from your past mistakes, learn from the mistakes that you're making in real time, adjust accordingly. You're going to be so proud of the life that you bring into 2026 and the person who is living it. I really hope this helped you. I have a few videos like this, and also I'm creating a lot of this stuff on Instagram and on TikTok about just self-transformation, the books that I've read that have completely changed my brain, the approach that I'm taking to hitting some of the goals that I've shared with you guys. I love you so much. I hope this one left you even more powerful than it found you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.